What's up, peeps? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how to improve your tracking on controller so you can get those crazy beams where people just seem to have such sneaky aim on that player, and anywhere that player goes, his aim follows him. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys 3 important tips that'll teach you that. Now, tip number 1 has to do with the sensitivity settings, right? Because obviously, if your aim is too slow and somebody is running right in front of you, then no matter how good you are, if your sensitivity is slow, you won't ever be able to track them. So what you want is something that is agile, but also that you can control the slower speeds. And this is where I'm going to show you the perfect sensitivity. And there's also a very, very important setting that Call of Duty changed without telling anybody. And it was actually Dennis, one of my viewers in my stream, that told me about this. So for me, 9.9 has worked perfect for me in horizontal and vertical. You can run anything like 8.8, 7.7, and for me that's just like the perfect sensitivity. And again, I'm gonna go into the second tip why, but let's just talk about that sensitivity. Next up, one of the most important ones is not the horizontal or vertical, but it's actually the low zoom and the high zoom, the ADS sensitivity. And something very, very, very important is before, low zoom was anything, as you guys can see here, anything less than a 3x, but as you guys can see right here, they switched this up. So now the low zoom, it says only applies to low magnification levels less than 2x. And then the high zoom, if you go all the way to the bottom, now this one only applies for high magnification levels 9x or more. Before it was, if it was less than 3.25, then it was low zoom. And if it was more than 3.25, it was high zoom. Again, I have absolutely no idea why these brain dead people that call themselves developers would change this. It was working perfectly, but a matter of fact, they did. So now really the ADS high zoom multiplier is basically no good. I mean, unless you're one of the people that run 9x scopes, then it works for you. But anything for the snipers and the VLK scopes and all those scopes, they're really not worth it anymore. So now you actually have to go into each and every one of these and kind of customize it. Or how I did it was that you can actually customize the general ADS sensitivity multiplier here. But these are my numbers now. I mean, I left the bottom, the high zoom at 0.58 because that's just what I had it. But my low zoom is at 0.63. And the one that I did change, which was for my sniper scope, the Car 98 is a 4x4 scope. So this is the one that I changed here, and I changed it down to 0.85. And now this is significantly, and right now where my values are at, I find them to be really, really good. But again, if you just felt like that sensitivity is not hitting and it's just feeling really weird, you're gonna have to go and check the scope power of the scope that you're using, and then go into your sensitivity settings in here and then change it accordingly. And remember, move the points around like 0.5 every time you're trying to move something. Don't move it that drastically, but yes, just so you guys know, the low zoom and high zoom are, I mean, low zoom is still good, but the high zoom is basically unusable. You're gonna have to go in here and customize each of these ones to your liking. Now we're gonna go with the second thing, and I've got my hand cam here because this is where the whole tracking things come into play. So now think of your controller as a car that has stick. If you guys don't know what that is, basically there's some cars that have stick and you have different speeds, right? You have like the first gear, second gear, third gear, and each one has different sets of speed. And that is how you have to imagine your controller. Your set sensitivity isn't meant for going left and right all the way completely and just moving your aim like this. You should imagine, and you should kind of like divide your analog stick into 3 parts. Now, if you have a high stick, or if you have controller freaks, as you guys can see right here, if I turn it up upside down like that, my aiming one is a lot higher. If you have these, they will be a lot, this will be a lot easier. What you want to do is you want to think of when you're aiming at somebody that is really close, or sorry, really far away, right? And you're trying to snipe them, you got to make sure that you barely move this, right? As you guys can see here, I'm barely moving it, right? Barely moving it. You don't have to go like this, left and right like crazy. So you have to divide it. When somebody's really far away, obviously this will just come with you playing the game and knowing how far people are. But when somebody's far away, just remember that you don't want to move your stick like crazy. Then if somebody is really close to you, obviously, and they're trying to get to you and they're in a pretty close distance, then that is when the left and right movements like this come into play. So you want to divide it, like I said, in 2 different speeds. Long range fighting, make sure you do subtle movements like this. Don't go crazy. Remember, always do subtle. And when they're a little bit closer to you, then that's when you can do the more aggressive movements. So just remember that, and trust me, that'll take you to the next level. And again, this goes down to the high stick. And again, at the beginning, it feels like super weird because they're a little bit elevated and they just feel really awkward at first. But trust me, once you get the hang of it, because the stick is higher, as you guys can see here, you will have more movement with the higher one than with the low stick. So once you have that higher joystick, you can do subtle movements like this that will allow you to control your movement better. Because when you have a high stick, it allows you, I mean, after you practice for a while, to increase that sensitivity so you can maintain that accuracy. But because your sensitivity has increased, then you have enough for the snapping movements. Now, before I go into how do you practice this and how do you improve, let's just say that each of these palm trees is an enemy, right? And how would you snap on them? Now, I know a lot of people, obviously on PC, you can see the crazy guys that are beaming like this left and right and left and right, and they get to snap on everybody. But as you guys can see, my aim is not that fast, right? I mean, my aim is not that slow, but still, moving from this target all the way to here is quite a bit of time, and it doesn't look as smooth as somebody that would be on PC that has a way better speed. So one of the things that you need to know is, obviously, if the players are pretty close to each other, then yes, you can beam one guy and then move to the next guy. But one of the things, because you're playing on controller, is aim assist. Aim assist also affects sometimes from you moving the target to target, because sometimes even though that target is down, or because he's in that down state, the sensitivity, the aim assist kind of like wants to stick with him. So you get a little bit of stick to the enemy that's down, even though you're trying to move away from him. And that's why people on PC can down someone immediately and then boom, move to the person on the right, boom, move to the other one, move to the other one. So that's why you have to be aware. And one of the things, the best ways to avoid this is, again, like I said, if they're pretty close to each other, then there's no problem. But one of the things you want to do is you want to disengage your aim and then aim again. So for example, if I'm shooting at this guy and I've seen that guy far away and he's going to push me, don't beam this guy and then move your aim all the way to the right here. First of all, you're going to have a little bit of motion blur, right? And you don't know what's going on. So what you want to do is you want to beam this guy right here, take cover, or if you can't take cover, disengage your aim once you down him, move towards your target, and then re-aim. This right here, as you guys can see, you move like this. This will be a lot faster than moving like this, because maybe he's already moving somewhere else and you don't know. So again, disengage like that and then go like this. And as you guys can see, this is a lot faster and will help you out tremendously, again, especially if you're playing on the lower sensitivities. Remember to always just disengage your aim and visualize where the enemies could be. All right, now going into the practice one, obviously the best way that you could practice this is if you go into multiplayer, because on multiplayer there is constant fighting and you're always tracking enemies. Second way you can go ahead and practice this, again, if you have time and you really want to improve, is go here where I just went to the palm trees. And at the beginning, you guys are going to be moving left and right, and the good thing about the palm trees is there's no aim assist, so it's just pure aim. So when you're an expert, you should be able to barely miss the palm trees. As you guys see there, I'm barely missing the palm trees, and that's what you should be able to do once you are able and once you've been practicing. But now, if the palm trees are just a little bit too boring for you, like you're like, oh my god, I don't want to shoot at palm trees every day, then this is something you can do. So again, if you don't want to be the kind of people that just shoots at trees, right, then one of the things we have is you can actually utilize the startup time, right? Grab a gun that doesn't have that much recoil and practice your beaming here. So one of the things that I would recommend is don't shoot at the people that are running in the ground, is try to get the people that are coming in the air, because they're already moving and then you can already beam them. But this is one of the places where you can practice this. So again, don't just sit around not doing anything. Go ahead and shoot at the people coming from the sky and anything like that. And again, that is also how you can get kind of like a little bit of practice before you start. But with that being said, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Peace out, and I'll see you all on the next one.